Welcome to Community of Christ, with the Shenandoah Congregation, in San Antonio, Texas. Community of Christ is a welcoming and loving faith community. We proclaim Jesus Christ and promote communities of joy, hope, love, and peace. Please take a moment and like our video. Subscribe to our channel so you do not miss anything. And comment to tell us where you are joining us from. Keep our contact details and share with us how we can minister to your needs. Find more information at www.cofchristsa.org. If you would like to view past services, follow this link on our website. We welcome you, we acknowledge you, and we love you. Shalom.
Good morning. I want to do two things at this point. First, I want to invite you to consider an evangelist blessing. And the second thing is to let you know that there are other blessings that evangelists can offer than you might imagine, than you might understand. Of course, in the old days, and some of us are old, the old days, blessings were many of the blessings that we heard about were called patriarchal blessings. And these were given by old men, usually in a three-piece suit, the vest, and so, never mind, making fun of some of the old days. And now I'm an old man, and we don't wear three-piece suits much anymore. But these were given by men they were always by men because we hadn't decided that we needed to enjoy the ministry of women in our church at that time. And so they were patriarchal blessings. And they were in many ways patterned after the blessings that Old Testament patriarchs gave their children and grandchildren. But when women became evangelists, we realized we need to rethink. And we needed to not only rename the patriarchal blessing into an evangelist blessing, and we did that fairly easily, but we also rethought and almost I would say re-engineered the idea of its intent and meaning. And the evangelist blessing seeks to strengthen all people for life's journey. It is a moment of divine and human encounter that reveals God's comfort, love, and assurance. Today, we understand more about the necessary acts of preparation on the parts of the recipients of the blessings, as well as the evangelists. And now we understand more about the power of blessing as a way of life and an ongoing condition, not just an event. Formerly known as patriarchal blessing, the evangelist blessing serves as an opportunity for God to affirm and support persons in their life ventures. It's an experience of laying on of hands and prayer, focusing on God's accepting and creative love in the life of the person or groups, family, or a congregation. The blessing is a defining experience to help persons know who they are, their value and giftedness, and purpose and meanings of life. It helps persons to refocus their lives according to the purposes of God and God's call to them. The sacrament may be extended to individuals, families, or congregations, and there are no age, race, gender, membership, or life conditions that restrict persons from sharing in this sacrament. So it's available to you. A recording of the blessing is conventional or usual, but is optional. Not all have to be recorded. An evangelist blessing may be requested more than once at different junctures of a person's life as life changes. Sharing with the evangelist as a spiritual companion is an integral part of the total blessing experience. The sacrament is performed by members of the Order of Evangelists. So today we invite people to seek an evangelist blessing, knowing that there will be a period of preparation, study, and understanding. Evangelist blessings are available to any person desiring one, not just baptized members. And as the commercials on late night TV often say, but wait, there's more. We have come to understand that evangelist blessings can also be given not just to individuals, but to couples, to families, to households, groups, and congregations. What used to be only an individual sacramental blessing is now understood as being also a blessing for groups. So here is a more modern and recent invitation, followed by a short testimony. An evangelist blessing is formal in the matter that it includes laying on of hands. This is accurate, but I believe it is not a fortune-telling experience that I was led to think of and imagine when I was much younger, 60 years ago. An evangelist blessing is a very intimate and comforting presence of the Spirit for your life, based on God's eternal love for your soul. An evangelist blessing can both guide and comfort a group that elects to journey in the presence of the Spirit together. The focus of why and how the group gathered may be further focused into the blessing, and the journey of the blessing can help with the path forward. We no longer look to the blessing as being strictly a prophetic light to step here and step there, but rather a way to be a strong light that shines the way as we process forward in our lives. So I invite you to seek the brotherhood or sisterhood of your evangelists and seek to the comfort of an evangelist blessing. This congregation has both Lyla Gardner and myself as relatively new evangelists. Let me tell you, we're still scared, really. And she nodded. But we are relatively new evangelists, but you're also free to align with other evangelists anywhere with whom you might feel a connection. Larry Sutton and Dorothy Hibbard are also recently called evangelists. Dwight Hines in the Bay Area congregation, and there are several other older evangelists that have years of experience, and you may know them well. I invite you to approach any of us and talk about your needs, your desire, your dreams or intentions, and you may find these ministers of blessing to be a strong source of your advocacy and support. I want to assure you that we are human and limited as well, and often we lack experience. However, I have a personal experience that I can share, that when you approach any of us, we tend to be very connected and supportive of each other. And when questions come up, which they do, it just seems like every single time that when questions come up, that we band together and figure out how we can help and become ministers of blessing, instead of coming back and telling you how we are restricted from meeting your needs. We will do what we can to meet your needs. Recently, two of us worked on preparing a candidate for a blessing, And we both evolved into the feeling that we had a blessing for the person. And this is highly unusual. But we consulted the presiding evangelist, explained the situation, and she said, well, don't let it be a habit, but go ahead and both give a co-blessing. And so we did. We found a way to serve the needs of the person and meet those needs, even though it was a little unconventional. So again, I invite you, singular, or you, plural, a person, family, a group, a congregation, or whoever, please pursue the blessing available from your evangelists, the ministers of blessing. Amen.